right, so let's start on the news. First off, something I normally do a little later than usual is the top anime movies at the Japanese box office, but this is for the entirety of 2010. So we now know what is the biggest winner in the Japanese box office anime-wise. And to absolutely no one's surprise, it's the Studio Ghibli movie, The Bar Arietti, which brought in $111 million US. To give you an idea, that's just about twice as much as the next film on the list. So that's how much Studio Ghibli films make. The next one on the list being One Piece Film Strong World, followed by Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, then Detective Conan Lost Ship in the Sky, the Doraemon movie, Crayon Shin-chan movie, Precure All-Stars, Gintama, and so forth, so on down the list. The Gundam 00 movie brought in a mere $10 million US, as did The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, although that had a rather limited release. Below that was Macross Frontier, Isuwari no Utahime, with $7.78 million. Professor Layton and the Eternal Diva, $7.1 million. And going on down the list, Colorful, the well-regarded film, made only $3.6 million. And Yoni Yono Penguin by Rintaro, $1 million. Trigun Badlands Rumble, $0.87 million. Welcome to the Space Show, by the creators of Read or Die, basically. $0.87 million. My Miracle, $0.77 million. King of Thorn, $0.7. And Time of Eve, only $0.24 million. So that's a feel for that. And of course, there are a bunch of other, Beyblade movies and so forth and so on. Speaking of movies, the Haruhi film came out on Blu-ray disc this past week, selling 77,000 copies to become the top-selling Blu-ray disc for the week, which is quite impressive. This is the regular Blu-ray disc, not the limited edition release. The DVD version sold 19,000 copies to rank number 4 in the DVD charts. So Haruhi selling well, to no one's surprise. Moving on to some manga news, and there's a lot of it this week. ASCII Media Works has just launched Dengeki Comic Japan, an online comic magazine, and has confirmed its plans to produce both an English and Chinese editions of the magazine. The first issue is available for free in Japan via the Voyager store and the Zashi online commerce sites. Not sure what those are. And there are versions for the iPhone, the iPad, PC, Mac, all that kind of good stuff, mobile phones. Future issues will be a grand $1.40 each. And they've got various artists collaborating on stuff. Takashi Murakami actually helped with the cover. Very well-known illustrator over there. As well as Mebai, who worked on, all sorts of stuff. So, about 25 titles in the first issue, and more on the way. So, very cool, and I'll let you know once I hear about the English edition of that. Sounds cool. Meanwhile, Tokyo Pop has launched a new version of its online store, which includes something quite interesting, a print-on-demand feature. So you can take out-of-print titles like Gorgeous Karat, Arm of Cannon, and Lilling Po, and order it, and they will print off like one copy for you using print-on-demand services, which is very cool. To celebrate the store's launch, everything in the store is now 30% off. So, for example, Fruits Basket Volume 1 was $16, now it's $11.19. So that's pretty darn cool. That's, I think, a great direction for the industry to take in terms of offering this stuff print on demand. So even if it's out of print, you can still order just one copy for yourself. It'll be a little more expensive than the regular version because it's one-off. But still, it's a great thing to have available for those things where it's like, okay, now I can't find any copies of that old thing. Also in manga news, Satoshi Kon, the well-known anime director who sadly passed away this past year, is going to be honored. There's going to be a new book collecting a bunch of his short story manga. And it's going to collect actually both his first manga series and a complete collection of his short stories will be published, I believe, in 2 separate volumes. Kaiki Sen is an 11-installment manga story that Satoshi Kon drew himself and did himself back in 1990 and was collected several times. We'll get a new version of that. As well, we'll be getting Fossils of Dreams, Satoshi Kon's complete short story collection on February 17th. Again, these will all be released in Japan. and there'll be a collection of 15 short manga stories that Cone created. So very cool. Hopefully those will be released over here in America as well. Meanwhile, sort of an odd story, DD Fist of the North Star is a, well, super deformed version of Fist of the North Star. It's just, chibi Fist of the North Star. Gonna get a TV anime. Don't know quite why, but they decided that it's worth doing. No more information about that we know of, but it's coming. Great. Meanwhile, the first new Cyborg 009 manga in 18 years has been posted online. This is quite interesting, though. Cyborg 009 is a very famous manga from the 60s, I believe, originally. And the original creator, Shotaro Ishinomori, created it way back when. And there was this contest to have folks send in basically a script treatment for a new story. And the one that won happened to be written by Ryoto Yamaguchi. He wrote a good chunk of Sailor Moon Stars, Digimon Savers, Project Blue Earth SOS, Escaflowne, Honky Tonk Woman and Cowboy Bebop, all sorts of stuff. He wrote this, was sent it in, and he happened to be the one that won. So his manga one-shot for Cyborg 009 has been written and published in Japan. So kind of cool, but odd, but cool. Meanwhile, you have all probably heard about the Tokyo Youth Ordinance Amendment, which basically restricts or calls for a restriction on the sale of graphic sexual stuff to minors and things like that. Well, there's going to be a doujinshi sort of parodying that law to be sold at Comiket this coming up year. It's going to be done by Takeshi Nogami, who's done a variety of stuff, and written by Takaki Suzuki, who worked on Strike Witches and Last Exile, and translated by Dan Katamitsu, who is a professional translator. So it's going to be available in English, apparently, and it's going to talk all about kind of how ridiculous this new ordinance is. So should be interesting to see how that goes. Still haven't heard quite yet about how it's going to be made available to other folks, if it's going to be posted online after Comiket, things like that. The title will be Even a Monkey Can Understand the Opposition to Tokyo's Ordinance, as a reference to the Even a Monkey Can Draw Manga stories. So interesting to see. There's some artwork available you can see, and it's just sort of going to be kind of interesting, sort of a Strike Witches style cover. So it'll be weird. Anyway, also in electronic manga news, Itochu Corporation has announced on Thursday is now offering electronic manga in North America through an iPhone and iPad app. And basically, this is going to provide a whole bunch of electronic manga at $1 a chapter for, 99 cents a chapter. And they got a whole bunch in there. Unfortunately, most of it is manga adaptations of Harlequin romance novels. But there's also some Shotaro Ishinomori stuff in there as well. And they've got quite a lot of manga available on there. So head over to AnimeNewsNetwork.com, check out the article, and that has links to the actual iPhone and iPad app. But good to see more manga available on iPhone-type devices. Also available for iPhones, iPod Touches, and iPad devices is an official Hitalia game in English. Tokyo Pop has launched an official game for 99 cents, available in the iTunes Store. Only limited time only on that price. Basically, you have to select different characters 3 times quickly, sort of a matching game, available on those devices. It's called Hitalia Chibi Carnival, and also features a preview of the manga. So if you're a Hitalia fan, as I'm sure a lot of you are, head on over there and play some Hitalia. That's pretty fun. Meanwhile, in some kind of more gaming news, actually, there's this online third-person shooter game coming out called Toy Wars. And it's going to be basically, the premise is that a high school club that's dedicated to the figurines, when they leave, all the figurines sort of jump down and fight each other. And so it's sort of a third-person shooter. And they've announced that they've worked with KyoAni to license the Haruhi characters. So you'll be able to have Haruhi-style characters in the game, which is pretty darn cool. Basically, you can customize your characters in these games in a lot of different ways. And so you'll be able to have, the school uniforms and heads and hairs and so forth from these characters. So looks cool. I have a promo from that, which I will show after Brent's Anime News Corner. Speaking of Haruhi, the next Haruhi Suzumiya novel has now been slated for release in May 25th, 2011. This is the first new volume in 4 years. Also, more importantly, according to the announcement, it'll be the 2 volumes will ship simultaneously in Japan and the world. So, unfortunately, I don't think that means it'll be translated, but you'll be able to buy it if you want to. It has taken a while for this to come out, but it is certainly good to hear there will be a new volume. It'll actually be shipped in 2 separate books. It's apparently that long. So this will be the surprise of Haruhi Suzumiya, coming May 25th, 2011. Also, in gaming news, there's a new ad in Japan for Hall's mentholated cough drops using Nene from Love Plus. That's right. It's an ad which actually has the character sort of in a product meeting with folks at Hall's for their next cough drops. Nene is known for being interested in cough drops, and it's cute. I'll show it a little bit later on, but yeah. So Love Plus is popular enough that it's now showing up in ads for like Hall's. Wow. Finally, definitely in wacky news, the Tokyo area cities of Tama and Tachikawa, which were the basis for Academy City in Toharu Majuto no Index and Railgun, have announced that they're going to be giving away 10,000 free limited edition Academy City maps. So basically, it shows what how Academy City is mapped out, using those cities as the guide. Unfortunately, you have to physically show up there at specific spots in the city to collect them, and they're going to have specific pickup points and times in the cities to collect them, so you can't just go online and buy them, unfortunately. But this is part of a certain Anime Academy City urbanization project, which is part of the Tama Area Film Commission and others to sort of get folks interested in the city and so forth. And much like the stuff that happened with the Lucky Star Shrine and things like that, of getting otaku interested in the actual places that inspired the products. So that's all the news fit to print this week, and until next time, thank you all for joining me. See you next week.